famed author Clive Cussler.
The hero, Dirk Pitt.
Blythe absorbed the impact with king-size biceps. Pitt brought his knee up into Glythe's groin. He lifted Pitt from his feet and kept squeezing. The wooden shaft quivered in Pitt's hands.
Cyclops, Episode 7. To reiterate, she was naked.
I remember just repeatedly hitting the same scrap of paper, just get picked up. I'm not going to pick you up myself. I have a vacuum for this. And no, I wouldn't do it. And they always break down.
Yeah, you're not going to get any kind of vacuum on the vacuum. Hi, everyone. This is Cussler Hustlers.
I'm complaining about being a homeowner. How was your Christmas?
I learned something about myself and my daughter.
Oh, shit.
I learned she's got quite a few things in her vocabulary that I didn't anticipate, because I was talking to Jay and we were talking about television shows we like and networks, and she overheard it, and she was with a friend, so it amplified that I like the BBC, and she was like, "You like what?" And I was like, "What do you think it means?" I thought British Broadcasting Company, and she's like, "Oh, that's fine." And I was like clutching my pearls.
Although our kids do know what the BBC is, because we're in Canada, the BBC, they were raised on shows on the BBC. We did still have almost that exact moment of, what do you think it means over Christmas while playing Cards Against Humanity and the other game we invented. Hi, Gordon.
So your kids pulled, I have words, I can use them. They let it slip that they have a vocabulary that you want no part of?
Yeah, I mean, I've known that for a while. I may have to bleep this part, but last year when my youngest had some friends over and they were I think they were playing Mario Kart, they were doing something really wholesome. I'm over here, I can just barely see them, but I can definitely hear them.
And how interested are you in they're playing? You're doing something. Your kids aren't toddlers.
And there was the comment, the two people who were in first and second place, they're heading for the finish line. And the phrase, "Oh my God, you were within dick sucking distance." And I just went, "What?" And then 3 of the 4 kids just went, "Nothing." I'm like, wow, you just dropped that casually, huh?
This was after I was married, so it shouldn't have been that shocking. But my father had a dog, and it was humping my leg, a little Bichon Frise, a little fluffy dog, and it was just being so annoying. And I was just like, "Just finish and go to sleep already." And my dad looked at me like, "What?" Awkward. That was awkward. The cat is in the podcast.
Hello.
She wants to be in your mouth.
Does this microphone pick up your purring? Well, you're not purring now. You're angry at me.
We're starting at chapter 47? 46? You texted me earlier.
No, we're starting on 49. We are in part 4, the Gettysburg, November 3rd, San Salvador Island, chapter 49. Because we burned through all of part 3 in the last episode. Because the parts are really short in this part of the book.
Yes,
and I'm hoping we can actually burn through part 4 in this.
I think we can. It's pretty
episode, because it's only 10 chapters.
It's pretty contained. Oh, first let me tell you, I finished season 2 of Tulsa Kings, and the hair pieces are magnificent. There was one scene where there were 4 guys, and I swear 5 hair pieces.
What? And they just swapped out halfway through?
Yeah, no, some guy had a fake beard for sure.
Ah, excellent.
And the writing is pretty okay. And if you like seeing aged superstars that were once action heroes pretend to still move, it's very entertaining.
They move like I do now.
Sylvester Stallone makes this motion he's gonna go play with his grandkids, and for a heartbeat, I was like, no, don't bend at the waist. Good God, man, you'll die. He doesn't look like he can bend anything. At our elbow, at the waist, I don't know if he just falls down.
That was one of the best moments from, wow, Rocky Balboa. So I guess the 6th Rocky movie, was in 2006. So this is almost 20 years ago. This is 19 years ago. And Rocky gets this speech because Rocky's having one last fight. And Duke, the coach, is there going, to beat this guy, you need like lightning fast speed. You don't got that. And Rocky just goes, yeah. And you got calcium in your joints and your neck. So a lot of running is out. And Rocky just goes, eh. And they just basically tell him how much of a beaten up old man he is. And he just stands there and takes it.
Well, it's what he's used to, standing there and taking it.
That was pretty funny. But that was 20 years ago. He's had 20 years of human growth hormone since then.
Oh, that explains it. Because he's got like the Joe Rogan kind of like he
yeah.
swallowed an egg sideways.
Every couple of years, he gets his HGH seized when he's in another country. He's like, no, I have a prescription. Because he has so much, he has to bring it with him and take it daily. Like, he's far more gigantic than he should be. Only in the last couple of years has he begun, like, deflating from being a 300-pound 70-year-old.
Arnold, too. But he still doesn't look like he could bend anything. And they must hate him because they named his character, and he has to introduce himself all the time because he's constantly like a mob bosser. He's like, hi, I'm Dwight. Sylvester Stallone saying Dwight has to be the hardest feat of any actor. I mean, he's got to take a moment, brace himself, and then go, hi, I'm Dwight with a D.
We did 20 takes, and that was the best one.
But he nails it.
They're going to be banging a robot.
All right, we've avoided this book long enough.
We started this twice and then just dove back into complaining about our lives.
Yes,
All right.
we did.
Part 4 of the Gettysburg, November 3rd, 89, San Salvador Island, Chapter 49. Pitt was going mad, waiting for the mission to start.
Yes. They're on San Salvador. It's the smallest island in the Bahamas. Terrible history. Don't look it up. It will really bring you down. And Pitt meets Major Angelo Quintana, whose brother and father both died in a Cuban prison. So he tells Pitt, hey, you don't own a monopoly on grief. Sorry your friend died. And it's pretty cool. And
I wrote down, he tells Pitt that other people have rough lives too, so Dirk can stop complaining about his friends being tortured to death. Pitt likes him instantly because this guy's a straight shooter.
Yes, and then we go to Velikov, or they're talking about Velikov, and they say he designs like an American, refines like a Japanese, and expedites like a German. So there's 3 variations of inappropriateness there and racism.
Love that line.
It's just so Clive reminds you, this is 1980-something, and he's an old white guy. He just has to put that in there every once in a while.
Yeah.
But they have underwater sensors, and Dirk has to explain that these underwater sensors are going to be tripped, and if he's got a particular knowledge of the layout, and he wants to kind of sidle in, like, it would only be captured on radar as a school of fish, but they have to use small vessels.
Yes.
No big things in this.
And of course, he has to show off how smart he is because Major Quintana, or Quintana, God damn it, I finally found a word that I'm stuttering on. Major Quintana says, well, I guess we have to scrub the mission unless you think you're smarter than our computers. And Pitt's like, yes, I do.
Oh, well, there are some computer things in here that he's definitely smarter than if his character has a pulse.
And this part ends with a lot of computers being not very smart.
You know, it really does.
Okay, Chapter 50 is where I had some problems, and I listened to this twice because we meet up with the Castros on a fishing boat. And Fidel Castro is old and fat. He's has a cigar. He's arguing with Raul, and they're talking about like their plans to like defect to America and how America will help them when they see how much Russia has like infiltrated Cuba. I don't know. I think this starts off with the book assuming I'm going to think a certain way about the Castros. So as it is, I don't know how to think about what they're talking about. Like they just seem like whiny idiots on a boat, and I don't know what their plan is.
We're missing the historical context of this. Is like a recipe I heard of once. People were trying to make old recipes, and they were trying to make this gelatin.
Oh, yeah.
From a recipe, and they didn't know they had to get calves' hooves, not old cow hooves. You need calves' hooves, and that is the only thing that works to make gelatin. But that was just known.
Eggnog from 1895.
So that's not included in the recipe. So what's not included in this book? That's the angle or their perspective. My guess is rage. Much less rage. An idea of Castro coming to the U.S. without that we cared about the island of Cuba, in so much that it's a spit of land. If we could destroy it and wipe it off the face of the earth, we would have done that. Reagan definitely would have done that.
It's a spit of land owned by the Russians where they can launch all their nukes from, because that's all either country cares about, is beating up the other country. They talk about the LeBarons and how, like, they should have snuck into America, and talk about the State Department, and it just seems like they're writing the Castros as well-meaning idiots who were, like, unfortunately caught up in all this communism.
Yeah, but the brother Raul's trying to, like, reel it in, bro. We're not going to the U.S. right now. We can't blend in. We're Castros. The beards will give them away.
They're not so bad. They even named a street after me in San Francisco. It's full of what?
And so they decided to go into seclusion for 5 days and not speak to anyone.
Yep.
Because this will solve their problems.
And it ends with the line of, what could possibly happen in the next 5 days? Never ask that in a Dirk Pitt novel.
I guess some characters have to have an amazing lack of intelligence and inspiration. Oh, and meanwhile, he's also doing a media blackout. So not only will they be incommunicado, they're also going to have a media diet. So they're not intaking any media. So they're not keeping abreast of world events, which is a very responsible move for a world leader.
Right, because they're
or country leader.
They're winding up to, like, Life Day or some celebration that they're having in Cuba.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It was mentioned once. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, celebration, carnival, people on a parade. They didn't have cable, so there were more parades. Meanwhile, Maskey comes to visit Velikov in Cuba.
And gives him the full update on the moon situation.
And they drink loads of vodka. I mean, like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah, they start pouring immediately.
And Maskey's getting Velikov a little bit more lubricated. Ooh, I didn't read my notes. My handwriting is terrible. The plan goes down like this. They want to use the Soviet-signed stuff to take over the comms for the space shuttle and bring it into Cuban territory and steal all of the data, the humans, the payload, everything.
Yeah. And just be like, it landed here. We have no idea how. You should keep track of your stuff better.
And they have 29 hours.
Dun, dun, dun.
To accomplish this with time management. Meanwhile, in captivity, Guardino gets a good meal, and he's very confused by it.
Yeah, they're getting steak and eggs.
Because up until now, it's been gruel.
So they're being rebuilt for the big final round of torture.
Oh, yes. It's like getting your bandages getting your wounds taken care of before they really go in and torture you, as they do in the movies.
So they're getting good food.
I've never tortured anyone, I swear.
Getting good food. You work for the government, I know. They're getting good food, they're getting fixed up, and in comes Foss Glide to say, good news, a fisherman found Dirk Pitt's body. Haha, he's dead. And once he's gone, Al is like, yes, Dirk made it.
Al and Rudy both. They both had the same idea.
Yeah.
Neither one of them was like, what?
It would only be released that they found Dirk's body if they totally didn't.
I can't make that make sense. So let's move on to chapter 51. Space Shuttle Commander Jack Sherman.
Oh, right, yeah. We're on a space station. and as I just wrote down, there's very little Dirk Pitt in this Dirk Pitt novel again.
Yes, the space station gets orders out of nowhere to rendezvous with the Jersey colony. And they're like, excuse me?
What the fuck is the Jersey colony?
Rendezvous? And they're embaffled, which is a word I haven't seen in forever. And I love that word, embaffled.
They're getting messages from a space shuttle coming from the wrong direction, and then they're getting messages from the inner core from Earth from the wrong direction, and the commander of the space station is like, will somebody just tell me what's going on?
And there's growing concern over, I'm sorry, call this coming in. They're concerned about the Gettysburg getting catfished by the Russians in Cuba at this point. The idea is trickling in, like, oh, maybe they'll do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because we get a moment in the fish room in the White House, which is the one that has all the aquariums in it. And it's Brogan, Fawcett, Oates, Mercier, Post, who's in charge of the Air Force, and Leo Hudson and the president. And they're talking about, like, how the Russians have like, missile satellites up there. They eventually settle on the plan that the Soviets might try and hijack the Gettysburg if they have a transmitter big enough, close enough. What about the one in Santa Maria that we just found out about from Dirk Pitt? And they're like, fuck. But by an amazing coincidence, We're invading that island tonight, so stay tuned.
Yes, they didn't give the hour countdown, but we're still on the clock.
Oh, yeah. Just all of these different plots that have not quite nothing to do with each other, but very little actual contact, very little actual friction. They're all on the same timeline.
And you're right, it is remarkably frictionless. And then chapter 52, we get General Velikov showing off his lair, and he's like, look, we have top-of-the-line everything. We even have a barbershop. I thought they hated capitalism. What's with the barbershop? Is there shopping going on? Is there an exchange of goods and services for money?
After finding out about how the inner core was based in a mall, I'm now assuming that this whole base is like under some resort on the island. So upstairs, yes, there is shopping.
The headquarters has 2 large computers that are 10 by 15 feet. So this gives you like the pre-CSI kind of vibe.
That is,
I imagine, holographic computers.
a very large computer.
And there's 2 screens, and one of them shows
the size of this room.
an intricate graph, and the other one shows a computer-generated display.
Ooh.
Like a screensaver?
I assume like...
Because that would be a computer-generated display. Or is this like munitions?
I assume it's like the first Star Wars movie having just come out, and how the screen looked when they were doing the trench run, so you've got the black screen and the green lines, and that's it.
Yes, and I'm doing this is my hand gesture, which is really good for podcasting. This means blueprints, like, yes.
Oh, I thought that meant...
Blueprints of like munitions, like just...
I thought that meant Rubik's Cube.
Mission Impossible movies, like they'll just have like a bullet spinning around with like graphs and information about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you need the picture just spinning? Okay.
Every movie has those graphics. I love those graphics.
They are for us. Our kids don't like them. It was too fancy for our parents.
This comes up every year on perhaps the silliest thing I listen to. Have I ever mentioned the podcast Till Death Do Us Blart?
No, but I'm writing that down.
All right. So it's the McElroys and the 2 hosts of The Worst Idea of All Time.
This is.
And
I won't do this. No, I won't do this.
And once a year, they watch the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and talk about it. And they've done it 10 times.
It's the sequel?
Yeah.
They're doing it I thought they did it to the first one. It's the sequel for this madness?
Yeah, they're doing it to the sequel. And every year they talk about, so the basic plot for the sequel is there's an art heist happening at the hotel because this hotel in Vegas has actual Van Goghs and Rembrandts in it for some reason. They talk about how they have, they unfold a laptop with 6 monitors and just wonder if the prop guy was just pissed off that day and said, no, you get more fucking screens. And they talk about how there's weird CGI graphics of every hallway in the hotel. Why do we need the graphics of the hallway? We just picture of the hallway. The hallway is outside. We're in a hotel room. There's the hallway. And they make fun of the graphics every year. Why does any movie need this, let alone Paul Blart Mall Cop fucking 2?
Yes, it is surprising that they have those graphics. It's like Galaxy Quest with Sigourney Weaver.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Room. Why does any place have a Stompy room?
Whoever wrote this episode should die.
God, she was beautiful.
Oh, I love that movie. Anyway, stupid graphics.
And stupid graphics all the way up and down. And now Houston and the space station comms go down. They wake up the president.
Yeah, there's strange interference we've never seen before. You literally just talked about how this could happen because this is Fawcett and the president. How is Fawcett caught surprised by the thing they talked about in the previous chapter?
It's not even that far geographically on the page. It's like a page and a half back.
Yeah.
It's just not that far. Guys, go back to the last room you're in. See if you remember. Look at things. Find 5 red things. See if that jogs anything.
Have you ever done something then immediately had no recollection of it?
Yes.
Then you need Amnesia magazine.
To be fair, they were drinking.
To be fair, it was the 80s. They were probably also doing coke.
Ooh.
So who knows where this mood is right now.
One slight side tangent. Starting New Year's Day, so I'm on day 3 of this, I have been getting ads for meth and cocaine on Facebook.
To buy?
Yes.
Is that legal where you are?
It's to order safe party supplies, including testing kits for your safe party supplies.
I like the enthusiasm of it. Somebody's trying to corner the market there first.
I've been getting cocaine ads. Thanks, Zuck.
I've never seen coke. That's wild. That's like seeing an ad for pipe bombs.
I was a little surprised too, but now I'm interested. And lose some weight finally.
I think you have to go like the Behind the Bastards guy and go to the gas station and just have a mix them up of the pills there.
Our gas stations suck up here. Like, there's nothing in gas stations harder than a 5-hour energy. They're not allowed up here.
I don't think the pills.
Whereas
pills do anything.
I've seen some wild shit in the States in gas stations.
Oh,
well, the 5-hour energy is just fucking caffeine. But the ones in the States it's amazing what you can sell as long as you don't, like, say what it is.
I had forgotten about this, and this is a tangent. You have to blame Orrin Hatch. I'm sorry, folks.
Okay, I will.
This is blame the Republican senator from Utah. He had a company for supplements. So it was run by his family for...
Look how fit and athletic I am.
Those don't have to be regulated. So if you buy a bottle of vitamins, they don't have to have vitamins in them. It could be anything. One company was selling supplements for women to lose weight, lose wrinkles, something like that. And it had traces of testosterone in it. Women were getting facial hair.
Ooh.
Men were getting stuff laced with estrogen. It was a complete mix-em-up. The factory was doing everything.
Have there been any side effects?
Yes, sir. A few side effects.
Well, that's okay. As long as there's no flipper babies, right, Don?
Well, there have been a few flipper babies.
They had magnesium up the wazoo. People were getting, niacin sweats. Because if you have too much niacin, you turn red. And it's just not against the law.
Nice. Thank you, unregulated food and drug products.
So whatever those gas station pills are, it really is a crapshoot. You are risking your life.
Yeah. No, I have explained to my kids fairly often that we might have our problems up here, but our products are regulated like 10 ways from Sunday.
It's really a good thing. That's a good thing. So your cocaine will be regulated once it gets to you.
Yeah. Like our Mountain Dew can't even have caffeine in it because we have laws against caffeine being in clear or fruit beverages.
That's probably for the best. There was a drink a few years ago. It was a beer beverage or malt liquor combined with combined with caffeine that really caused like a mini crime wave a few years ago.
I can see that. It really is do stupid things faster with more energy.
It is. You're going to make decisions, just not good ones.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people were born because of that drink.
Anyway, chapter 52 ends with the president asking, when does the team hit Santa Maria? And Fawcett's like, 2 hours. They're being guided by Dirk Pitt. The president's like, God, what a hero. Anyways, if they fail, shoot down the astronauts.
Yes, and Fawcett pales. But he does say, Dirk has done too much. Can't we find some other man?
Yeah.
And Fawcett's like, it's him or it's nobody.
He's so goddamn
really?
Heroic.
That irreplaceable.
Even the president's like, what a guy.
And then we pivot to 51, the space station, Columbus. And Commander Jack Sherman.
We've done 51. We're on 53 now.
Oh, 53.
And your handwriting is bad.
My handwriting is terrible. Oh, yeah. Oh, and we learned that Kleist won the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Who did?
That just came up out of nowhere. He's got the, what people used to say, coffin with metal handles. Congressional Medal of Honor. Mostly dead people were awarded that. So now we know Kleist is a hero as we dive into 53.
Oh, right.
And
he's the one in charge of the mission on the boat, whereas
yes,
Quintana is in charge of the mission on the island. And they're asking Pitt, okay, where do we land? And Pitt's like, I landed in a hurricane at night. I don't know what the fuck the island looks like.
Yeah, Pitt has to admit he's not a god. He did not memorize the terrain.
You have a map? Help me out here.
Or anything on that island when he was coming in or going out.
Uh-oh.
Because as he was leaving, it was post-torture. Hi!
She has to go back to work. She's not on vacation today.
Oh.
Wasn't allowed. The counters.
I'm going to make pie when you're gone. I am making pie and banana bread. The bananas are on the counter.
Ooh.
I bake.
What kind of pie?
Apple. We have a lot of apples we got to use up.
Oh, it's a good way of using them. I don't eat fruits or vegetables, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure your family will enjoy it.
Darth Vader.
Yes, Darth Vader. So nice to see you again. Welcome to Naboo. Would you like some fruit?
I do not eat fruit. Excuse me.
Darth Vader walks past them towards his
The
office.
power of fruit is insignificant compared to the power of the Force.
Hey, it's great that you bake.
I will make a Dutch apple pie that I bet you will eat.
Probably. Probably, you're right. Because if it's unhealthy enough, if you add enough butter to it.
Basically, yeah.
And sugar.
The Dutch apple pie is like...
Once you transform the filling into something not resembling food, I'm there.
The Dutch apple pie filling is, the apples and the butter and the sugar and the cinnamon and all that, but also full fat sour cream. And then you make like a brown sugar crunch layer on top rather than more pastry.
Oh, that is lovely.
It's like
I also don't mind
it's like apple pie, but bad for you.
I also don't mind the way Gordon Ramsay makes carrots in the French mode, a la mode. It's just...
Is that when they're like fried and glazed?
He takes like a few carrots, maybe a whisper of carrots, into like 2 pounds of butter, 3 pounds of sugar, simmer it.
I still don't like cook. I will take raw carrots over any of that shit.
You're like a bulimic teen.
Well, even in like stir fry that's chock full of vegetables, I want the carrots crunchy. So I'm like, when you're done the stir fry, that's when you add the carrots right before it goes on my plate. I want crunchy carrots. If the carrots are squishy in any way, don't like.
You heard that, listeners. Do not mess with Topper's flavor profile. He wants the carrots crunchy.
It's not the flavor profile, it's the texture profile, because there's no autism in this house.
Hey, I'm not autistic.
Everybody but you, sweetie.
That's right. I'm the autism whisperer.
It was a very poignant... It's a spectrum, we're all on it.
Anyway, they get a message from the president that's just like, go faster.
But I would like to take a moment to memorialize Dirk admitting he doesn't know everything. It takes us away from the omniscient Dirk Pitt for a moment. And he's not even unconscious. So it is a feat. And we learn the space shuttle will land in Cuba in 2 hours. We also learn that Sput is back in the rotation for this mission, and it was designed for CIA use. So it's very stealth.
Oh, yes.
The Sput.
Why does the CIA have a submarine? No, I don't even want to know. I'm sure I know why the CIA has a submarine. Moving on.
Well, we probably have to overthrow something for cheap plastic goods. I mean, we needed those fidget spinners. So we probably had to overthrow a government somewhere.
There's an excellent Hakeem video from a couple of days ago, which is all the dictators that the U.S. supported and why.
Oh, I will watch that. But
it's
Hakeem?
very educational. Hakeem is like a very calm, soothing, like ASMR voice about the worst things in history.
Hi there. The United States has supported some of the most brutal dictators on Earth. In fact, they directly installed many of them.
And then we get this description of a jet ski, I think?
Sort of.
A water dappler?
I know I've seen these in movies, and it's basically just like a motor, like a jet ski motor that you hold on to, and that's it. And it tows you. So you hold on like bicycle handles, and it zips you through the water.
Like lifeguards have those sometimes.
And we get a moment where all the Marines are loading up, and Dirk Pitt grabs his AK-74, which I thought was a typo, but I had to look it up. The AK-74 is a real gun. There's like AKs 1 to 200. There's all the numbers. It's not just the 47. But Dirk Pitt specially brings along a baseball bat, which he says is for a friend.
I also think that speaks of some psychosis. If you're picking up a baseball bat for anything other than baseball,
I'm invading Cuba. Where's my baseball bat?
You've made choices. I'm just saying.
He made that choice about 10 chapters ago. So he's just following through on a promise. And we basically recap like how they got onto the island the first time. So they find the cove, they find the fence, they dig a hole under the fence.
One thing, this island is so down low, you shouldn't see any forces on it. It shouldn't look like it's guarded in any way. Yet Quintana has to go take out the guards at the gate. And there's a moment where Dirk's like, yeah, those 2 guards at the gate, they've got a minute to live. Too bad for them. Why is there a gate? Is there a fence? Because a fence means there's a big fence. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you there? And then Dirk says that, and then he jumps down a hole without any warning to Quintana. Like, stay on the same page, Dirk. You're on a mission.
Yeah. The Marines have to split up because it goes from suddenly calm to like a complete wild hurricane wind. And they split up. So most of the Marines are going to go find the compound and blow it up. And Pitt's just like, I'm going this way. And he leads the rest back through the hole in the garage and into the vent, and then Dirk runs away to the prisoner cells, and the Marines are like, hey, come back here. And he doesn't.
I believe they would call that in 1989 a loose cannon.
Dirk Pitt, a loose cannon? Say it isn't so.
You're a loose cannon, meow meow, fuzzy face.
No, I'm not. I'm a cannon, maybe, but a loose cannon? Is that what you guys think of me?
My daughter laughed at that one. Wow. I have her approval on a joke.
You should make her watch Lethal Weapon, because you will see it through her eyes, and you're like, there's not a movie. There's barely dialogue. What's happening? What was going on in the 80s? And she will have so many questions.
That movie is punching and quips and saxophone solos. It's all you need.
There's wind, too. Lots of wind and Mel's. It's like he's standing in a wind tunnel at times. Like, why does he need that much? All right.
Because
he's a tortured hero.
His hair was so feathered. You had to have the wind. Like, look how cool Mel Gibson's hair is.
It really, to enhance the feathering, he was always like on a cliff's edge. And we get to Merv, who works in Houston at flight control, and he's trying to talk to the flight commander of the Gettysburg, but it's not the real Merv. It's fake Merv. It's Soviet Merv.
We've got,
how dare he?
Yeah, we've got Dave
Jurgens
on the Gettysburg driving it back to Earth and talking to Merv Foley. And he's like, what? You don't recognize my distinctive vowel sounds? Which is the funniest goddamn line ever. You don't know the way I am talking to you now.
That is not what it said in the book. When I read it, it said, you don't recognize the deep resonance of my voice?
Or something like that.
Which makes more sense than you don't understand my vowels?
I'm pretty sure this says English, yes? You don't recognize my distinctive vowel sounds, because that's what I wrote down in quotes, but who knows?
I love that.
He said something equally silly. And
I love that.
He's like, of course I am Merv. Ha ha, we have American banter.
Yes.
And Dave Jurgens.
Natural American banter.
And Dave Jurgens is like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say we're landing in Cuba. And Merv's like, no, it's fine. Keep going.
Yes, but Jurgens is, Dave, as we now know, is getting wise to it. He's like, what is up with this guy? He gets my name wrong. He's not answering quickly because there is a delay. So the president is awake and we turn to him for guidance in the Oval Office, but he's wearing a bathrobe. In the Oval Office, the disgrace.
Yeah, it's all gone wrong. They're past the point of no...
Obama wore a tan suit and it was in the newspapers for 3 weeks.
They're past the point of no return to land in America. Order the fighters to stand by. May God have mercy on my soul, etc., etc. It's the president is having an anguished emotional moment because he might have to kill Americans.
But yeah, it's a heavy is the head that wears the crown kind of moment. But you didn't not know you were running for president when you, or I guess he was vice president. He didn't anticipate becoming president. That's fair.
Yeah, that's right. Like 1 or 2 books ago, he was just like shoved into it. You're president now. Go.
And I love the next scene. We go back to Cuba, and Dirk is breaking down doors. He's looking for Jessie. He's looking for Al. The prison cells they were in were empty.
Yep.
So all the henchmen are going to a different floor. I guess it doesn't have to follow code, this structure. Why would it have to follow code? So there's no stairs next to the elevator. So all the Marines and the SWAT fancy soldier boys have to get into the elevator. And I imagined elevator music.
Yeah.
Like the girl from Ipanema.
There is one whole section I had to write down because Dirk finds out that all the chambers are empty. Al's gone, Rudy's gone, and Jessie's gone too. And I wrote down word for word, his dread was replaced by a cold, ungovernable rage. Pitt became someone else, a man without conscience or moral code, no longer in control, a man for whom danger was merely a force to be ignored. Fear of dying had ceased to exist. Our hero!
He gets like that every book.
Oh yeah,
this is
every book. It's not usually so blatant.
A fugue state. It's like he took a bat with him. This was not a surprise. This was a mode. He was getting into the mode.
Yeah. So they meet up at the elevator and Major Quintana tells Pitt to go back to the beach. Like, your job is done. You led us here. You're not supposed to be in this building. Go back to the beach. And Pitt threatens to kill him so hard that Quintana's just like, okay, come along, I guess. Fine. Quintana is scared of Pitt now with his baseball bat.
With a real, good use of resources there. But then they get out of the elevator, spill out, and they see False Glide holding court,
You fast forwarded one tiny scene. So first, they get out into the control room. So a room full of Soviet technicians and also 4 women, and most of them die in a hail of bullets. So the Marines just hose down everyone, and Pitt just walks off the elevator, finds the stairs, and then goes up to Velikov's study where he finds Fosklai.
So now there is stairs. They started midway. What kind of building plan is this?
There are stairs from the command center up to
The center to the top?
up to Velikov's study. Yeah, basically. And there he finds a whole bunch of Russians watching Fosklai torture Al, Rudy, Raymond, and Jessie.
And then when Fosklai sees Dirk, he uses Jessie like Elon uses his toddler.
Yeah.
Which this is a post Luigi world, so that's means human shield.
Pitt mows down everybody without a name with a machine gun, just like kills all the Russians, kills all the higher-ups, anybody wearing a uniform. And then it's just like him, his friends, and Fosklai.
His friends are still tied up. Jessie's not. Jessie is just been thrown to the ground hard, and maybe she's unconscious or slightly conscious. Al is tied up, and the other guy is just beaten really badly. I get the sense he's sort of incapacitated. He's got a broken leg.
Is it Al with a broken leg again?
He tries to reach for the gun.
Al's 4th broken leg in a row?
Oh, no, I think it's Rudy Gunn's broken leg.
Oh, okay. That's fine then.
Al can only take so much.
And Dirk is out of bullets, so he just like swings the baseball bat and says, I told you I'd come back with a club.
Oh, and Jessie's still hot. Jessie's still hot.
And this fight is weird. Oh yeah, still hot. But this is a weird, brutal fight. This is all the way back to Iceberg, where Pitt is breaking arms and legs one by one very deliberately, because he starts by breaking Fosklai's kneecap. Like that's
and he doesn't go down.
The first blow, and it doesn't stop him.
Folks listening at home, whoever you are, you crazy people, just take a butter knife and tap your knee gently, gently, barely.
Like a tuning fork.
With
just
the hilt of the butter knife.
Ding.
You will feel it throughout your body. It is noticeable.
You'll feel that in your teeth.
Yeah, you will. And this guy is so superhuman. He's beyond evil. He's a golem. You can't kill him.
Yeah,
is what it seems like.
And it's now when Pitt brings up, by the way, remember Brian Shaw? I'm the one who hit you with the wrench. So Pitt reveals that they did meet once when Pitt knocked his ass out with a wrench.
And Fosklai hit him once without, didn't they? That was an exchange. They both hit each other at times from behind.
Without knowing who was who.
Yes.
They keep fighting. Pitt slips in some blood. Fosklai tanks a hit to the head and then throws Dirk completely across the room and into a wall. Everyone knows, like, oh shit, Pitt's dead. Nobody could survive that hit. That was impossible.
They were fighting and he throws him via the bat. So I got the impression that he kept the bat and just swung Dirk off of it. But Dirk is still holding on to the bat. So he just used it like a lever and spun around and put him into the wall. So it must have been quite the slam.
Everyone knows, like, Dirk Pitt could never shake off that blow. But just then, Dirk Pitt shakes off the blow and stands up. And there's like some talk about how the books absorbed his impact and he's actually fine from hitting the bookshelf, but it's really just a silly thing.
Yes, and I have Jessie shoots Fosklai after Dirk takes out his eye.
Yeah, because Pitt comes in swinging again and Fosklai punches the bat out of his hand because that's how invincible he is, which is also an amazing moment, actually. And Pitt's like, the fuck? And then Pitt gets
his hand would be shattered.
And then Pitt gets bear hugged, and Pitt's like, okay, I'm completely boned now. So he thumbs Fosklai's eye out so deep he pokes his brain, and Fosklai is still standing. And that's when Jessie to the rescue.
Why, it's that delightful TV leprechaun. I'm going to get your Lucky Charms.
Oh no, my brains.
In the book, he pokes his brain and swirls around a bit.
Yeah.
It's very detailed. You can feel it squish. I can envision the thumb in there just going
and that's when
rotating.
And that's when Fosklai seems staggered. Like he's like, that one finally did some damage to him, finally, you know, having your brain scrambled a little bit.
Well, you're directly attacking the batteries.
Yes. But he's still standing until Jessie shoots him 3 times in the groin.
And then it's just inertia that takes him down. We'll see him again someday, I'm sure.
I'm not sure he's coming back unless he's a cyborg in the next one.
Oh, that'll be great. Peg leg false glide with one eye.
Oh, that would rule. 10 years from now, cyborg Foscali returns.
Oh, it's got to be one-eyed false glide.
Just RoboCop owned by the Russians.
He's coming back, baby.
That would be amazing.
And then we meet Major Gus Hollyman, who's trying not to believe his mission.
Oh, yeah. We spend a lot of time.
This is chapter 56.
We spend a lot of time in Hollyman's head, and he's the jet pilot who is tasked with shooting down the Gettysburg.
And he's like, this has to be a practice run, a training exercise, a simulation.
This is a simulation.
It can't be what it actually is.
This can't be real. And he gets a message like directly from the general. It's like, it's not a drill, goddammit. It's from the president. Shoot it down.
It's a direct order. So by the consequences and the music swelling and every indication from the 1980s, you have to do it. But it is lawful to disobey an unlawful order. I don't know how easy that is, but you can. Just put it out there in the world in case that comes to you. Also, another thing I want to bring up, jury nullification. Folks, if you don't know what that is, go look that up on your off time.
One thing that they do also mention in military training, that yes, it is lawful to disobey an unlawful order, but at the same time, you don't know if the unlawful order is going to prevent World War III. So they try and plant the seeds of doubt way ahead of time that, you know, maybe this horrible, unlawful thing you're doing is actually for the greater good. Just don't think about it. Follow orders. Yeah.
That's laying the seeds for a patsy. So if something does go wrong, we could just blame it all on this one guy.
Yep.
He was told not to follow unlawful orders.
Yeah.
We messed with his head and stole his confidence and told him that, you know, he has to follow orders. But we also told him the opposite.
We switch back to Dave on the Gettysburg, and he's like, it looks like we're landing in Cuba. And the fake Merv is like, nah, it's cool, keep landing. But Dave on the Gettysburg disobeys this order and switches the space shuttle to manual. The space shuttle is also a glider that is falling about as fast as some airplanes dive. So he's somewhat limited in his capacities right now.
And they go to TAME, which is TAEM. It's a power saving, like on your phone, the battery saver.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to extreme battery saving mode. The lights get dimmed. Their power is restricted. Their speed is restricted.
Yep.
And so forth.
They're going as slow as possible to try and buy some time for something, anything at all.
And Dirk says, try to make for Key West. Or they're trying to make for Key West, but that airfield is down. Out of nowhere.
Up next is chapter 57, and there's a lot of stuff in 57. Pitt talking with the Gettysburg is the very end of it. So chapter 57...
Oh, I spoiled the surprise.
Chapter 57 starts with Pitt hugging Jessie, and then he just very carefully takes the gun away from her, and then he runs off to basically go hunt down and kill Velikov.
Yes, and he's trying to get to the antenna so he can communicate with the shuttle. That is his singular task after killing Foscali, is to save the shuttle. Because there are innocents after all. And he knows that time is ticking. Boy, does this guy love a clock that's ticking.
Yeah.
He's going to finish everything down to the wire. I get the feeling he never handed in homework early.
Unfortunately, he doesn't manage to kill Velikov because Velikov uses Miski as a human shield, and he absorbs all of Pitt's bullets. And then Velikov runs behind an armored door and locks it. So Pitt runs back to the control room, which is now called the Carnage Room, and tries to stop Quintana from destroying everything. It's like, you're blowing up all the computers we need, you idiot. Please let there be one radio still working. And they find one radio still working that's still on the right frequency. And then Pitt calls the Gettysburg.
To be fair, they were told to destroy everything on the island. So a briefing would have been useful. Even just a memo. Write it down, guys. Hand it out.
That is true. What?
Like a worksheet.
When they were on the boat, before they invaded Cuba, did they get told about the space shuttle? Or were they just told to go faster?
I think they were just told to go faster. I think they're compartmentalized.
Yeah. But anyway, Pitt somehow knows about the shuttle now. So
he knows about the shuttle, and he speaks to the commander, Dave, and he says, you're going to land in Cuba, Dave. And Dave's like, I already know, bro. Who are you?
Head for the Key West Naval Air Base, 110 miles north. Worst case scenario, you land in the water.
Which is not a light event for a space shuttle to land in the water quickly. It's not the descent, it's the landing part that's hard. And you don't want to be in pieces.
The space shuttle is very
But they're gonna-
heavy and lands very fast.
It's also bulky, and as I understand from some brief reading I did about it, really hard to steer, not very nimble. And this is when they get told, after they already put their heading in for Key West and there's no turning back, that the airfield is down because a fuel tanker crashed into the side of the island and blew out the power.
There's no air traffic control. There's no lights. There's nothing. And there's like so many panicked phone calls back and forth. And right when Hollyman is about to like squeeze the button and fire the missiles and take out the Gettysburg, that's when the Gettysburg finally turns north. And he's like, oh, thank God. Okay.
Oh, and he was going through all of the scenarios in his head. He's like, I'll never work again.
Oh, yeah.
My wife will leave me. I'll lose my kids.
Like I said, we spend a lot of time in Hollyman's head.
He's going through the scenarios. That poor man has to go home and play Tetris right away.
They hadn't invented therapy yet.
Oh, he's got to go home and drink copious amounts of alcohol right away.
Yes.
With some cheese.
It wouldn't be Tetris. That's a Russian game.
I'm a spy. You caught me. And now we get Hollyman back for his original purpose, and it is Christmas time-ish. He's going to be Rudolph to their sleigh, because the lights are down in Key West, as I mentioned. The power is out. So the Hollyman is going to guide them in with light from the fighter jets, which sounds like a very intricate dance I would like to see from afar.
Yeah,
Further than that, way far back.
They have the space shuttle following one of the jets while the other two basically do flybys, so they can sort of see the boundaries of the thing. And everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong. The Gettysburg's dropping too fast. He doesn't lower the landing gear until the last possible second, but it lands with 26 feet to spare.
Which is nothing. So he's right up against it. All of my organs would leave my body. I'd just be like, the adrenaline, after the tenseness of the adrenaline wore off, everything would fall out of me. I'd be like, oh, there's my heart, been flushed.
They make a point of saying that it's only when they're on like the final approach and they're 300 feet below their glide vector and they're basically going to crash. Like they're not even going to hit the water. They're going to hit land, but not the runway, and just fireball. And that is when Dave feels like a single drop of sweat start to go down his cheek. That's the nerves of steel he's got. But perfect landing. One Cybertruck's distance away from complete catastrophe.
Well, a Cybertruck is a complete catastrophe, so we have to take that off for safety reasons. Don't allow those on the runway. I really like the writing in this chapter. I liked the line Rudolph to his sleigh, and he was really building suspense. He did a great job in chapter 57, and I'd like to think that inspired the movie Passenger 57. It doesn't, has no relation anyway. And we learned back in the lair that Raymond LeBaron tried to take a bullet for Dirk, stupidly, so he lays dying.
There was a moment where a bullet grazed Dirk's ear, and that was because Raymond LeBaron took that bullet for Dirk. I was thinking this would be a sad scene, but Dirk Pitt thinks about how Raymond LeBaron is an evil billionaire. He read his whole backstory, how he crushed workers, how he got thousands of people laid off, how he bought and sold companies without any thought for the people, how he murdered his best friend and stole his woman. He feels no sympathy at all for this man. Like, oh, so Raymond LeBaron is now dying in just like the least emotional way possible. No one cares.
It is a surprising...
Even Jessie doesn't seem to care.
I saw a Christmas movie with The Rock in it, and it had a surprising anti-carceral message in it. The world contains multitudes. So like, oh, maybe leftism is creeping in on the sides. But I love this. Yes, burn the rich people. Burn the billionaires.
Dirk Pitt likes America, but hates billionaires. So take what we can get.
I feel like it's soft libertarianism.
Yeah.
So I want to guide Dirk. No.
All these heroes are definitely
Go left.
libertarians.
Yes, they're one seat
Your
away.
human laws don't apply to me. He's a sovereign citizen.
I've seen those license plates, the homemade ones. Beautiful.
Look those up, folks. Yeah, he bends down and asks Raymond, what did you do with La Dorada? And with Raymond's last breath, he says, look on the main site, which just confuses everyone.
Yeah, he should have said, fuck you. But he's the bad guy. Be a bad guy to the end.
Yeah.
This guy can't commit to anything. Not a wife, not a mode. But we're reminded at the end of Hilda. So Dirk knows that Jessie knows, and Jessie knows that Dirk knows about Hilda.
Oh yeah, Jessie knows everything. Talks about how when Hilda started to like get old, basically, and deteriorate, they faked her death and stuck her in an old folks' home. And then Raymond picked up supermodel Jessie LeBaron, who worked for one of his companies, and they just had like a stage marriage.
And that sounds cold, but that's also introducing the colder side of Jessie right now as she pulls a gun that she had the whole time out of somewhere because she was stripped naked. So I'm not going to address that.
We should say that everybody's back on the beach now. They're all like Scooty Puff junioring back to the CIA boat with their little jet ski bike things. And Jessie rides with Pitt. Unfortunately, in that position, Pitt can't do much to fight back when Jessie pulls a gun, pokes it in his ribs, and she's like, turn north.
They're going to Cuba.
They're going to Cuba. Why is Jessie going to Cuba? Was she a communist all along?
Where was that gun?
She was naked. We have to point this out. But then again, she was also led through an entire base full of dead Russian guards. So I'm assuming she probably grabbed one at some point because they did find clothes for her.
Oh, I thought they just found a blanket for her. I'm very happy she got clothes.
I'm assuming she wasn't naked riding back to the boat. Like they had to have found a t-shirt and some shorts or something. But then again, if you remember Raise the Titanic, that lady only had a jacket around her shoulders for 3 chapters.
The ladies in Dirk's life are always freezing. He should carry around a backpack full of pants just in case.
No, but then that would ruin his view.
Ugh.
That's the response I expected.
We're not supposed to care. Jessie is a hot 50-year-old ex-model who's pulled a gun on Dirk and they're going to Cuba.
Yep.
I don't know if I like her or if I love her.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. Like, I still don't know if she's good or evil.
What if she's just deciding, like, holistically? Like, she doesn't have a plan. This is just something she's workshopping in progress.
She might be thinking, there's no way I'm getting his inheritance once we're back in America. Let's go to Cuba.
That has the...
I'm going to party on the beach. Rum drinks.
I have to get to the accounts before his widow knows he's dead.
Yeah.
We're going to divert payments. She's going to Shady Pines now, Hilda.
I'm defecting. But that is where part 4 ends. Which means next episode, episode 8, if we can get through part 5, we will wrap up this book in 8 episodes. And I did not think we were going to. But for somehow the last half of the book, we could fit the whole last half into 3 episodes. Because things are happening so fast, you can actually kind of skip over some stuff.
It's like Clive was typing faster, too.
Yeah.
He was out of breath typing.
Oh, there's so much good stuff happening. Where's my mail order cocaine?
He definitely had that in the 80s.
Where's my party supplies?
Door-to-door delivery. Yes, he was. The LA County Sheriff's ran cocaine. He could have, if he was in with the sheriffs, had door-to-door cocaine.
Probably.
I was listening to something about the Sweat Until the Oldies guy, Richard Simmons. And every time he was offered cocaine, he'd be like, oh, I've never seen that before. How do you do it? Like every single time. And he always free coke at parties.
Nice.
I'm like, that guy was smart.
I can't believe there's like 1,000 people who were like, I can't believe I was the one who introduced him to cocaine. He took so much.
To Richard Simmons.
He took so much of it for free that night. And like 8 people in the room were like, hey.
The man knew.
He took all my cocaine too.
He gave everybody good stories.
Yes.
Now we could all say we all gave Richard Simmons his first cocaine. That can all be our story now.
Him and Bill Murray living just for giving people weird stories. And Prince.
Yes. I believe Prince was very odd. Like he showed up on sets to just like guest star. Like I like this show, The New Girl or whatever on CBS. Like weird shows that he guest appear on because he was a fan.
I think I mentioned this once in the past. A radio show I used to listen to had a game show. They would have a celebrity and they would list off like 4 absolutely insane things. And you had to guess which one of those actually happened. And with Prince, a lot of them were all of the above because they had so much weird shit to choose from that they just put them all in.
And I loved, he died without a will and he knew it. he told his lawyer, let him fight.
Yeah.
I love that. That is great. Let them fight? Because they're all grown. It's not tiny babies fighting over, like, just to stay in a house. No, it's grown children, ex-wives, and all that. It's like, let him have at it. He's just a chaos monster, pulling the pin from a grenade and throwing it from the coffin out into the world.
Yep. Have fun, folks. I have stashed
It's the best.
weird shit all around my house. You're all going to try and figure out what it means.
Talk about weird shit. We were cleaning out the attic. So much dead people hair. I know I've brought this up before, but I found a whole new box. A whole new box. And pictures that indicate that maybe my family was on the right side of certain wars.
Well, I mean...
That's a mess I'm going to go clean up right now. Let's go erase some history.
One of my favorite podcasters has brought up, like, once or twice that his grandma was, like, a stenographer for the Hitler Youth going into the war. And he's, like, a very nice, very lefty, very British person. And his grandma, like, lived well into her 80s and was just like, yeah, I was. I kind of had to be.
I grew up in Brooklyn during the 1980s, 1990s. These people were still alive, and they were the little old ladies and the little old men. Some of them were Italian or Polish, Russian. You don't know what side or what life experience they came to you with. And my little brain at the time was like, oh, it's like grandmas and grandpas everywhere. And now I'm like, oh my God, I was around stone cold killers all the time. They were just 80. And I will let you go with that. Have a wonderful weekend. May you not have to drive teens lots of places. And I hope your son's bumper stays on.
It should this time. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, festive Kwanzaa, whatever, folks out there, whatever you're doing.
Yes. If it's too late to be festooned at this point. If you're hearing this, it's February. Happy Valentine's Day.
In theory, I'm releasing this episode tomorrow, so...
Oh!
Because we are out of backup episodes, and the next one's due tomorrow. So let's see how my day goes. This might be out Sunday, but
okay,
you're getting this fresh.
You do
folks.
the hard work.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
We're almost at the end of Cyclops. There's action everywhere in Cyclops. We're shooting everyone in Cyclops, but everyone forgot the book. Sing is supposed to be gone on Cyclops. A giant emerald in Cyclops. $1 billion statue in Cyclops, but everyone forgot the book. The Russians are invading Cuba. The CIA is invading Cuba. Dirk Pitt's invading Cuba, and the Castro's on a boat. There's lions in the air tonight, but sky is spawning for a fight. The space shuttle's on a tombstone, and Castro's on a boat. At the end of Cyclops, then we can stop reading in Cyclops and start whatever book is after Cyclops. I bet that it's gotta bounce, gotta bounce. Puzzles. Toss your host and hopper and Patsy. Find your sponsor and it's at Cussler. Cussler.